I moved a bunch of our demos to more note files. This is getting kind of messy over here. I promise you I'll organize it before you download it. Now, what I want to talk about in our next lesson group is interactivity in JavaScript, the whole point of you probably being here in the first place. Now, interactivity in JavaScript is what I like to call CRUD for your HTML. I'm going to write that here because I really like that terminology. And if you don't know what CRUD means, that means create, read, update, delete. It's a common term used amongst developers, mainly for like database reading and writing. Now, what we're doing is we want to read data, write data, update, update and delete data in our HTML. And we want to do it with JavaScript. So I'm going to try to separate this out to also introduce you to a bunch of jQuery helpers so you can figure out your own. But we'll start with reading data just because it's the easiest. We've done a million examples of this already. So we can do, you can read, we'll go like this. We'll separate this out a little bit. Text stuff, so you can read text. So we can do text example is equal to, we'll just say H1, whatever the first H1 is, and then grab the HTML text. And then we'll log this, hit refresh, open up our console. It says learn jQuery. Pretty easy. We've done that demo plenty of times. Don't need to rehash that too much. You can also do attribute stuff. For example, var who am I is equal to, and what we'll do is we'll put a mystery class on this H1, mystery class, and we'll say hero H1, and we're just targeting a different way just for practice purposes. And we're going to say, what is the class? And we do that with the attribute helper. And we just need to log it now. Log who am I? Who am I is the mystery class. Kind of cool. You can read any data or attribute you want. So it doesn't matter if it's an href or something else like an ID, you can read it. The other type of data is the HTML5 data attribute. If you're using a CMS or a programmatic or a server-side language like PHP to produce your markup, chances are all this, like the title and everything, is dynamic. And sometimes so is the information associated with it. So you can associate data with an element for your JavaScript to read later. This is really useful for being able to create interactivity with logic. For example, we can say whatever, data whatever is equal to yo, dude. And then we can do a more real example like style, or we'll say hover style. Let's do that. And we're going to say heartify. Why not? All right. Well, or we'll just say crazy and we'll go from there. So how do we read that data? Var data or HTML5 data is equal to the hero find, and I'm just doing another way to show you how to do selectors all in the same thing just for practice. Data, whatever. And that's what we called it. Console log. We're going to log the HTML5 data, refresh. It says, yo, dude. Pretty simple. So now imagine you had a CMS where you were giving your user the ability to create a custom animation. I mean, technically you could do this with a class, but I'm just trying to create some sort of sample for you. And so the user in WordPress, they selected crazy style. And now what you can do is something like this. And this is a more practical example. If HTML5 data is equal to crazy, we're going to target the content, and we're going to add a class called heartify. And this is just kind of a general working example of what I'm trying to do here and kind of illustrate how to leverage these. And I have a syntax error. Hopefully you saw that as I was typing. And we need to change. It's not whatever, dude. We want to get the hover style. So what we'll do is reassign this as the hover style. So hold on one sec. We should get in the habit of not rewriting this too much. So just for practice, we'll go hero h1 is equal to that. And now I don't have to reselect and save a little bit of resources on my machine because it's stored now in a variable, and I don't need to re-query the DOM every time. So now if I refresh here, a bunch of stuff's going to happen. We are going to select the H1. We're going to grab the data, whatever. We're going to reassign the data as the hover style in this variable. We'll log it, and then we'll add class Heartify to content. Refresh, and now we are manipulating this page on the fly. Technically, you could have just easily have printed a class, but I'm just trying to illustrate the examples to reiterate. That's how you read data. Go on to the next lesson, and we'll continue on this CRUD course.